Hey, welcome to 1313 Mockingbird Lane, where the monsters live. This is the All Monsters podcast now.
Did you watch The Monsters?
No, I didn't. Did you?
No. I have self-pride.
I heard it's all right. I heard it's
Well,
all.
I grew up. I didn't really grow up watching The Monsters, but I watched it as a kid. I watched the black and white, and I think it was in color for a bit. So I was curious for the point that I saw the trailer, and anyway, let's talk Star Wars.
I didn't grow up with it either, but my dad used to do this thing where if anybody ever handed him something where he had to like fill out like a survey card instead of his real address, he would always put out 1313 Mockingbird Lane.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was a deep cut on the Monsters reference. If you haven't seen the movie, like that. They did try to make like that hipster version with Jerry O'Connell like 10 years ago. That didn't do too well.
Oh, I forgot about that.
Yeah, but he didn't. He was just like a white guy. They didn't even bother making him green.
Oh,
So
that's
yeah,
lame.
you're just a dude without a shirt on or something. I never saw it. I don't even know if it ever saw the light of day. But yeah, it was called Mockingbird Lane. I think that's what it's called. It was called something. Anyway, hi Andrew.
Hi, how are you?
I'm good. I'm driving. This is the driving home podcast.
Is this the
Driving
first
home.
show I've ever done with you since you became a daddy?
Yeah, because I think I've only done one podcast since then. So yeah, it's my first one with you.
Wow, we have to change the name now to Daddy Scum Podcast.
Daddy's Scum podcast. Yeah, that's what it should be. It's all the fathers out there, all the parents I should say out there would know. It's been a tiring few weeks. The first few weeks are very tiring. You hear about it and then you experience it, and it's like, oh no, it is very tiring.
I can only imagine, my friend. I hope you guys are all doing well over there.
Yeah, we're all doing great. We've gone through 300,000 diapers, so that's a positive. And
So have I.
Yeah, no kidding. It depends.
And then
Oops, I grabbed my pants.
maybe one day when baby Razile quits a job because she doesn't like it anymore, she can come back and live with you, and you can pour her a sad little bowl of cereal.
Oh, another deep cut, this time for Andor.
Uh-huh.
By the way, we didn't get a close-up of the cereal this week, though.
I'm pretty sure last week it was, or the other time we saw it, it was like clearly Fruity Pebbles, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, we got like a nice shot. I was waiting for it this week, but we didn't get it, and I was a little bit because I don't know. Did you see that StarWars.com like tweeted out a recipe to make like, I think it was like Rice Krispie squares or whatever with that cereal?
Yeah.
I don't know. I guess you use like the blue balls from the Trix or something. Trick cereal? I don't know. Anyway, they put out a recipe. I don't eat that kind of cereal, so I didn't make it. But if I had that cereal, I would have made it and probably just made it multicolored because I don't have the time or patience to take out all the green Fruity Pebbles.
And I think you'd have to eat it sadly. It's not a celebratory meal.
In a cubicle somewhere.
Cyril Karn is a spooky dude.
Yeah, his name I'm not familiar with the character's name still. And part of that comes from the first 3 episodes came out when my daughter was just under a week old. So
Right.
And it kind of like only like half able to pay that. I haven't gone back to watch it yet because I think I'm gonna do a full rewatch on the entire series when it's done. Because I was talking to Brock earlier today. The one flaw, I don't know how you feel, but the one flaw, Andrew, that I would give this show is that this show I think would benefit from the Netflix dumping binge watching that they do, like all the episodes at once. I feel like this series would benefit more from that model than from, and I prefer week to week, you know that, but I think this series and Book of Boba Fett and Obi-Wan would have benefited from the binge watching Netflix model because it seems more geared towards that style of storytelling where each week isn't necessarily an individual, and this week actually kind of was, but for the most part it hasn't been like individual episodes. They've kind of just been like pieces leading you on the way. which I think like Stranger Things crushes, like stuff like that. And that's where I feel that's the one flaw though. And I mean, it's not even a flaw of the show. It's just that's like the one flaw I find it has. Is I think it'll be when it's all said and done, it's going to be something that's going to work so much better when you watch it all at once together.
I think I would definitely agree when it comes to Obi-Wan. That should have not been spread out. But I'm liking that this is spread out. How I think they were, I think with this show, it's like there's parts that should be and parts that I'm glad, like parts that need to be condensed. And by condensed, I mean binged. Like the 3-part pilot we got, I feel like that was a really careful choice on their part because those episodes are so, A, they're so different, and B, they're so connected, and C, the first two are so much of a build-up to the third one that it's like if they had only dropped 1 or 2 of those, people might have had a really different reaction off the top when the show debuted. So
well,
that
here's a question for you. I agree, but why wouldn't they just make that one long episode?
I know, right? That's the thing. I don't know why they're afraid of these things being longer than 50 minutes. It's so weird. I mean, I'm so happy Rings of Power spoiled us that we have like episodes that are like an hour long and sometimes even more. That's the dream. They're living the dream over there on Amazon Prime, and I never thought I'd say that.
But I don't think. See, but I would argue against one episode. That's a law, and I would make an argument that none of those episodes needed to be any longer than they were, because there's no like those episodes were what they were. There was no part of it where you're bored. But the thing is, we just had Stranger Things in a finale that was 2.5 freaking hours long.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you're telling me like those 3 episodes of Andor would have been less than that, and you dropped them all at once anyway. So why not? I mean, I think part of it is if you don't want to watch them all, you're going to come back and watch that episodic. I'm not sure, but that's my one thing. Is like I really think I love week to week, but I think this show, Obi-Wan. I think everybody is in agreement on Obi-Wan, and I think the fact that it was a movie really showed. But I also think Book of Boba Fett, or even if it wasn't all binge watching, but I think it does feel like 3 episode arcs at a time. We had the first 3, which all worked very well together. Then 4, 5, and 6 worked very well together, and now we're in store for. I'm guessing. I guess we should say spoilers if you haven't seen this episode of Andor, so don't just turn it off then. But I'm guessing we're into like the K2SO part of it now, where the next 3 episodes are gonna have him and a new droid, maybe. I don't really know. Like something big's happening now, so like it seems to be in 3s, and then like the next 3 will be the last 3 of the season. So it might even have benefited from dropping 3 episodes at a time instead of just 1 at a time. But also they have been 50, 54, 53 minutes the last 2.
Yeah, they have been getting nice and long, which makes me happy. I think, yeah, it's really context sensitive because the first 3, I agree, they needed to be binged the way they dropped them. The first 3 needed that. We needed that to get comfy in this show. But when I think of the last 3, the heist, the build up to that heist was really intense. And I feel like if we had sat and watched that all as one chunk, we wouldn't have felt as much of a sense of accomplishment as we did, getting to know that team over the span of 3 weeks and feeling those 3 weeks of tension. Like, oh man, are they going to do it? Are they, somebody's going to die. This isn't going to go super well for them. And I feel like that was serving it to its benefit way more than if we binged it. But that being said, the next episodes, which are 8, 9, and 10, are supposed to be another kind of chunk of 3, and they're supposed to, I don't know what story they're going to tell from what we got here. It's probably going to have to do with prison. Oz meets Star Wars. Maybe Harold Perrineau and all the rest will come back from that show. And then apparently the last 2, because it's a 12-episode thing, the last 2 are the finale as a 2-parter. So they're really, it seems like they're conscious of how the episodes relate to one another and how they come in groups, but they're still not always putting them out in a group. I feel like Disney's whole philosophy, it seems like it's, very common American family philosophy of like, there's a husband and wife and 2 kids, and they're going to come home from their 9 to 5, and they'll have 40 minutes per evening to watch one episode, and then that's it. Like, I feel like that's the way Disney thinks. They're not trying to create a different kind of outside the box method.
And I don't even think I disagree, because She-Hulk being on Thursdays, because they moved it from Dancing with the Stars. Like, I don't understand how, like, these episodes of Andor have been 50 whatever minutes each. One was like 40 or 37. Like, they haven't been excruciatingly long. And She-Hulk, I only saw the first 2, and I actually kind of enjoyed the first 2 of She-Hulk, but they were like 20 minutes long. Like, they were like shorter than if it was on NBC. And then, you're telling me you can't put She-Hulk and Andor on the same day because what? Because I don't have 70 minutes to watch both episodes. And even if I didn't, I could still watch She-Hulk or Andor the next day. And that's what I don't get. And the thing is, like, when I finish watching Andor, recommend She-Hulk to me then. Be like, hey, guess what? She-Hulk also dropped it. Or if I watch She-Hulk, recommend Andor. Like, I agree with you there. I think their whole strategy is weird. And the fact that I think one of them was pushed because of Dancing with the Stars is even weirder. Like, that's even like a completely different thing. Nothing makes sense on their scheduling at all. And it is streaming where you can watch it any day you want. I know somebody that actually watches Andor like 5 days later. They basically watch it.
Oh, wow.
They're like an episode beyond. They're like, well, I just don't have time.
They're living on Cyril Karn time.
Yeah, they definitely are. They're working out of a cubicle. But the thing also, like, I actually still prefer the Friday release date to the Wednesday. It gives you the Friday, and then there's always like that, like, no spoilers till Monday, which like 20% of people actually care. But that's more than Wednesday when nobody cares. It's like game on. I've noticed on Wednesdays there's like a lot more to get spoiled. But then you have like Friday to watch it, or Saturday, and you have to worry about, I'm going to work, I'm going to finish work. Like, you're gone, and you can come home and watch it, or you just watch it on your own time. I prefer that. But anyway, we're getting off the rails here on our Disney Plus banter. This is the Disney Plus hate show. I like Disney Plus. It's just their release schedule makes no sense. No sense at all.
There's got to be at least one YouTube hater out there somewhere who's got a thumbnail where it says they should call it Disney minus.
Oh, I'm pretty sure that's been taken over by everybody. Apparently, though, did you hear, like, Andor this has nothing to do with viewership, apparently, but it's like the least searched for, or the least like trafficked Star Wars, maybe not Disney Plus, but a Star Wars show. Like, it's tracking less than them all, and it's because it sounds like it's because there's not much to hate about the show. Mm-hmm. Like, there's nothing like you can, like, I guess you can find something offensive about Obi-Wan and clearly Obi-Wan and Boba Fett and maybe Mando as it went on. But right now with Andor, like, there's very few things you can actually get like fake pissed off about with this show. And so apparently so people aren't searching for it online. And that, like, and the one thing I haven't heard anybody talk about is how messed up that, I almost said the F word. I don't swear here, but I want to say it just because it's like shows only are popular, getting traction online because of hate watching, because of finding online videos to watch and agree with somebody hate. Like, the positive stuff doesn't get viewed, because I've also seen a lot of people who do the positive stuff, and they said their Andor stuff is down a lot because there's nothing to hate on Andor, so nobody wants to pay attention to people talking about Andor. And that's why this video is called Why Cassian Andor is the Worst Thing to Happen to Star Wars.
That's right. And that's fascinating and horrifying, and also completely believable.
That's
not surprising at all that it runs that way. And I love that this type of show exists because it gives us that glimpse into that. Because we so rarely would get to see that and be like, oh, look at this. Even something like everybody I've talked to who watches Rings of Power love it, but there's still plenty of people online who disagree. So I love that this show can exist in a way that it's Twitter proof, if that's the right term.
I'm sure something will come up soon that will change that, I'm sure.
Probably. But in the meantime, I am loving this show, James.
You know, and I got to be honest with you. So my favorite, I think I've liked all the Star Wars Disney Plus live action shows, kind of like in order of like release until Obi-Wan I would put probably, unfortunately, towards the bottom of my list, my personal list.
Same, yeah.
Yeah, but like Boba Fett, the Book of Boba Fett, I was like, I really enjoyed, and I think I was one of 7 people, but I really dug Book of Boba Fett. I love what they were doing with it, and I was all in on that. And then when Andor was coming, and I was like, I don't, when a Star Wars show comes out, I'm not like, well, I'm not gonna like this one as much, or this is gonna be my favorite one. I just kind of go into it watching it. But Andor, I was kind of like, well, it's not Favreau and Filoni, and I don't want to make a big deal about that in my mind because people do.
Mm-hmm.
But I was like, let's see what it is. And I'm watching it, the first 2 episodes, like, that was really solid. And now I'm like, it's going to be 4 episodes longer than Mando or Boba Fett, right? 4 or 5 episodes longer, like 6, double the length of Obi-Wan. And I'm gonna wait for it to stick the landing. But at this moment in time, it's probably, for me, the strongest of all the shows. I think Mando, like Boba Fett was for me, but I think Mando season 1 will always, I mean, now people are forgetting about it, but will always have this special place for all of us because it was a ton of fun. Mando is probably the most fun of them all. But then like this one is like and we talked about this before on the phone. The cinematography and directing on this show is getting no love, and it is by far the nicest looking Star Wars we've probably gotten, period.
This Andor looks like if Deakins and Dean Cundey had a baby, and that baby worked on this show. Like, it looks gorgeous.
It looks like what Solo should have looked like. How about that? It looks like what Solo should have looked like. Because I know you're not a fan of the way Solo looks, but I think this is what Solo. If Solo looked like this, we'd be probably closer to getting Solo 2.
Solo, all I wanted out of Solo was just for them to turn on 2 more lights in every scene. That's all I needed. This looks like that. I think that when in terms of comparing the shows is hard for me. Mando season 1 feels the most like Star Wars, especially those first 3 episodes, man. Like with the egg and everything, those feel
egg
like
is my favorite.
They feel like they were made in 1983. That's what Mando season 1 feels like. It's something that existed in 1983, and kids then ran to their wooden TVs and their footy pajamas, and they turned the knob, and Mando came on. Andor is so far a better quality show, and I'm doing like massive Dr. Evil air quotes on that. It just feels different. And the only thing that I had these past few weeks that was like a personal, like little grain of salt that was nagging at me was I was just like, God, I wish Andor just had a bit more aliens. There's too many humans on this show. And lo and behold, we get episode 7 and we meet a bunch of aliens. Well, they're in the background, but we finally see a bunch more aliens. And they're not Elo-Asti.
No, they're not Elo-Asti, but there's stuff that we've never seen before, which is fine. But I hope, because now, like, everybody hates the Filoni Favreau verse, right? Like,
of course they do.
Of course. It's like, but you forget, like, the thing that I think a lot of people forget is, and we're praising Andor. Andor is phenomenal, and blah, 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 blah. But, like, Star Wars at the end of the day is still Star Wars. And if you're going to pretend that you're not Star Wars, then you're not Star Wars. And if you're gonna say you like Star Wars when it's not Star Wars, then just say you don't like Star Wars. I'm not saying Andor is not Star Wars. Andor is Star Wars. But what I'm saying is, like, what you like about it is that, like, because we talked about, like, this was the first time we saw Stormtroopers. It took 7 weeks.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we didn't see Stormtroopers, but we saw every freaking level of the Empire before we got to Stormtroopers. So it was still very much Star Wars. And there's no aliens in the Empire, and which would make sense that there would be no aliens basically until now, because we've only been on Andor's planet briefly, and then we were on Coruscant, which there would be no aliens on Coruscant because of CVP Palpatine's no alien policy. There wouldn't be any aliens and any of the Imperial crap that we saw. And then there wouldn't be any aliens on the heist because immediately the Imperials would be like, well, you're not an actual Imperial because you're
Bingo.
alien. So it's actually lived up to Star Wars in that sense. So but like when people are like, no, everything connects in the Filoniverse. Everything's also connecting in this verse also, and it's not like backtracking from stuff that we know. It's just the Favreau, Filoni, and the Mandoverse is more interconnected to the Clone Wars and Rebels. And the thing is, Andrew, is it has to be because it's about a Mandalorian, and the Clone Wars and Rebels were so much about Mandalore.
Yeah, it needed to tie into that, and this was freer to do other things, and it's scratching at the door of all these great little pieces of canon that we've always kind of dreamt about but never really got a chance to see. One of them being the Senate post Empire, right, or rather post Republic.
So like, good.
Seeing the Senate and seeing how desolate it is. One thing I still am waiting to see, because I just want to know what it looks like visually, is we all know Palpatine turned the Jedi Temple into his own Imperial Palace. What does that look like? Like, even just to see it in the background, like we don't have to go in and spend time with Chibi if they don't want to do that, but just have like somebody walk past there and be like, hey, this is Imperial Palace. Like, that must look gorgeous to behold. And just, I can't imagine what he would have built there. But we're seeing the life of the Empire in the hub of the Empire, which is so cool. All the little biting, snarky drama going on at the ISB. We got to see Yularen this week. Mr. Wolf Yularen, he's back. He's still got his mustache.
Yeah, no Easter eggs, guys. There won't be any Easter eggs in Andor. What have I been saying from the beginning? It's Star Wars. The whole thing is an Easter egg. You can't escape Easter eggs in Star Wars. They don't have to be Luke Skywalker, but you can't escape Easter eggs.
Now, I've after this week, I'm facing a tough crisis of conscience, James, because I don't know who I have a bigger crush on right now. Is it Mon Mothma? Or is it Stellan Skarsgård's assistant? Because it could go either way.
Okay, she was the one in the hood at the end of that episode, right?
Yeah, with those rocking heels.
Is she working against what's his face? Skarsgård? Like, was that like? I think I have to rewatch. I watched it like very late last night. I gotta be out like very late. I was very tired, so I don't know if I heard everything that was said. But she was like, "You're gonna kill Andor, right?"
She's
like, so is that Luthien's plan, or is she going behind Luthien's back?
That's a good question. The way they photographed her this week seemed to imply that she had her own agenda, like just the way she was kind of watching while Luthien did his thing. I don't know if Luthien actually wanted Cassian to die. Maybe they're slowly pivoting him to be more of a radical, because when he's talking to Mon Mothma, she seems to be a little hesitant. She's like, look, I'm funding you money to rebel, but I don't like the way you're rebelling. Like, they have that weird standoff. So maybe she's on the same side as Luthien, but maybe Luthien's not on the side we want him to be. I think that's where I'm standing right now. Yeah, because she's telling the girl there, whose name I can't, Vel. She's telling Vel, just take care of him, because we don't want any of this to point back to Luthien. And that, I mean, that doesn't make her bad, but it's just making her a lot more radical and a lot more careful than somebody.
Don't forget, Saw Gerrera is coming into this at some point.
Yeah.
And there's no one more radical than Saw Gerrera. And so I wouldn't be surprised. Don't be surprised if Luthien and Saw Gerrera are connected somehow, in some way. So because he's on his way. Like, he was in the trailer. It's 7 episodes in. We still don't know when he's coming or how he's showing up, but we know he's been mentioned already. So, but we know that Saw Gerrera is coming, and we know that these characters know about Saw Gerrera. So yeah, something's up. Maybe she's the scout trooper that was painted all black in Rogue One that I thought was Ezra Bridger for a year.
Ooh, maybe. Saw Gerrera, did Cassian know him already in Rogue One? No. Okay. So
No. It was Jyn Erso was like the only one that knew him, remember? Because
yeah.
she like grew up with him at some point. Yeah. So I don't know.
So he's not going to cross paths with Mr. Cassian. So maybe he's just going to be giving Luthien ideas. The two of them are going to feed off each other. But I love the different levels of rebellion that are happening here. And I mean, Mon Mothma at that party, smile, keep smiling, like that. That party scene, man, that was the best thing I've ever seen in my life, more or less.
You trust that guy for real?
What's that?
Can she trust that guy for real? That's what I don't really know who's on what side.
Right. And she's very understandably dismissive of her husband, Perrin. And I wouldn't be surprised if her daughter is up to something. You think Perrin's the best character on the show?
There's something with her daughter, right?
Yeah, something. Perrin, I'm not Perrin, sorry. The daughter, yeah, something's up with her. We're going to find out she's involved in something.
Yeah, but I'm not sure what yet. I feel like something like Mon Mothma is on a course that we're not ready for. And it's like an unexpected course for Mon Mothma. Because we know where she is in Return of the Jedi. But here's a question about Mon Mothma. Like, when did we know as an audience, like, that she was like a senator? Because in Return of the Jedi, she's just the leader in a white gown. Like, right? Because like many Bothans died. There's no this is senator. Like they don't call her senator. I don't really think. I didn't and then obviously she was in Revenge of the Sith, and all that stuff. But like as an audience, when was it first? Is it in the book? I can't even think of at the moment because I'm driving. When it was first revealed that she was a senator, to the people.
That's a good question. I think it would have to be either some super early, like 1984 book, even if it's just like a guidebook that's like Senator Mon Mothma, blah, blah, blah. Just one of those, maybe even like a West End Games thing. I don't know, something from way back then after Jedi. It's either that or her deleted scene in Revenge of the Sith. Because that was 100%. She's part of the scene.
But I'd have to think that it would be fun because of like her wardrobe in Return of the Jedi. Like looking like as a kid, you never think about it. But looking back now, I'm like, oh yeah, Lucas had to have known that she was going to be, that she was a senator or someone of some kind of esteem at least when he put her in there.
Yeah, she looks in that movie. She looks like she's a female Julius Caesar. Everything from the clothes to the hair to everything. So yeah, that must have been a conscious choice.
Yeah.
But I think we knew. I think that's the latest we would have known, if not earlier. So she's been a senator for a long time to us.
Yeah, I'm just like, I wonder what, like, so she's a senator in Return of the Jedi, but I wonder what, how if like she is questioned by the Empire at that point, like, or if she keeps her or not. Do you think we're going to see CVP in this series at all?
Is it greedy if I say I really, really hope so? I mean,
no, I know you hope so. I feel like if we were going to, we would have already.
I don't know. He's always the type of character that they really save for the right moment. They don't just kind of throw him in there. I thought for sure this week we were going to see, because right at the beginning of this week's episode, they set like the Yularians, like the Emperor's holding a Senate meeting tonight to discuss what happened. And then we see Mon Mothma saying, I'm on my way to that Senate meeting. And I'm like, oh my God, here we go. And then we don't get that meeting. So I think we'll see him in the Senate chamber eventually.
Yeah, because I would love to see Palpatine as the Emperor in the Senate, but not evil. Well, he's evil, you know
Yeah,
what I mean? But like showing, like not showing that hand, like just being like, I'm a leader and I'm doing what's right for everybody, blah blah. That's
exactly.
I think we're going to keep going to the Senate. The Senate, at some point, he's got to appear.
Yeah, because what's that like? What is that public persona like for CBP? We know Sly Moore, who stands right next to him, is getting invited to all of Perrin's best parties. Maybe they don't invite Masameda. Who knows? Maybe he's kind of a jerk. He comes across that way. But like they are part of this world. They've been mentioned. So to have Palpatine there and seeing the way he puts on that face, the way he tells this ever dwindling uh, coliseum of senators, oh, you can still trust me, even though I'm really, really naughty and I've murdered lots of people across the galaxy. I'm not a bad guy. Let's do what I say now. We are fully living and I don't know how long it took the galaxy to get like this, but by Andor, we're fully living in the dictatorship because obviously everybody's terrified to talk against the Empire. So that even though Palpatine took over overnight, that kind of mentality takes time. So I wonder if he even needs to put on the face anymore. But I'm still curious, like, what is that like? What is it like when he addresses people as the Emperor and he's not just talking in a room about Sith?
I think you're in the dead zone now. But you bring up that. They mentioned this later how it shifted. Even Jedi agree with it or not, the ways are the old ways, and we are to forget about them. And I thought they did a really good job of that transition right now in this series.
Ooh, that was a real dead zone comment there, sir. I caught the word Andor and transition, and then a little bit of the end of your sentence. Run that by me again.
I was saying what they
Can you hear me?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. What I was saying was, because everybody complains that there's only been like 19 to 20 years or 10 to 20 years between Revenge of the Sith and A New Hope, and like how could the galaxy shift and not believe in Jedi? But this show's kind of showing that that's very plausible now. Like we're in this where people forget about them because they're not at the forefront. They were told that they don't exist, told not to trust them, and people just disbelieve all of that. And you're getting, and to me, Andrew, it really feels believable now that people at this point in time have stopped believing in the prequels.
Oh, yeah. Look, I've got students who are 15 years old. I bring up a Tamagotchi. They're like, I don't know what that is. Go away, boomer. So it's 1,000,000% within the realm of plausibility that these people would forget, that these people would think Jedi are myths, that Rey would think Luke is a myth. And we have to remember too, we are living on one tiny little planet that, for the most part, we know everything that's happening on it. These people are living in a galaxy with countless planets, and believe me, I have tried counting. I have a whole Evernote file dedicated to that, and not all of them communicate with one another. Travel takes who knows how long. It's a whole different setup than what we've got going on down here on our pale blue dot. So, of course, there's going to be vast chunks of the galactic population who are just like, Jedi, what's that? I know this creepy guy in a hood says I have to bow whenever he walks by, so I guess I'll do that.
Yeah, exactly. Real world problems, people. Real world problems.
RWP. Now,
I love this show though. It's so stupid. I love us. It's just stupid. I like it so much.
Yeah. I mean, you brought up off the top though. You said you're still not 100% clear on what every character's name is, and the only way I have learned some names is by looking them up, like Vel and Cyril Karn, and the guy who said the word SHIT because he's my new favorite character.
Funny enough, Vel was the only name I could remember. That and B2 Emo and Vel are the only name, and Andor and Bits. Only names I know. I forgot Tim. What a weird Star Wars name that is.
Tim was a weird. He has 2 M's in Tim though, so I guess that makes.
Yeah, well, that's how you. Yeah. He also created Batman the Animated Series.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
it was like
Linus
Tim and
Moss.
Rose are like.
Yeah, Tim and Rose. They should have their own spin-off. Linus Moss is the Scottish guy who swore, and I really hope he comes back.
Commissioner from the Batman.
Mm-hmm. What what would solve this problem, and would solve the problem in other forms of stuff they have given us on Disney Plus? DK visual guides. Did they forget that they have merchandise? Like, did they just forget how merchandising works?
I think you only do these podcasts so that you can talk about the visual guides.
That's really it.
It's true though. It's true. They used to really like when Lucas owned his own company. He was like, imagine that he was yogurt. He was just like, everything is merchandisable. You're gonna everything, and now Disney has it, and they're like, I saw something and somebody was like, look, a Black Series. I said, I'm not even gonna pay attention because this Black Series will. I don't even know what it was. I actually did not look at it. Even if I wanted it, I'm not going to ever get it because it's not going to become available anywhere I am. It's going to cost me $90 plus $400 shipping, like at best. And then I'm like, what's the point? Like, what's the point of me caring about merchandise? It's not available. Although Saw Gerrera, at my Walmart, they have a Saw Gerrera Black Series there. I'm very tempted, but it's like $37.99. Like 40. I'm not spending $40 on like Forrest Whitaker might be able to afford that for himself, but I can't spend $40 on an action figure that I'm not gonna play with. I mean, I would have to obviously and probably make stop motion with it, like you and your quarantine show. But like, you know what I mean? Like, it's a lot of money, and I'm ranting now. But yeah, there's no more merchandising. Everything's overpriced, and visual guides are the best. I was actually looking at my Rise of Skywalker visual guide the other day, randomly.
Yeah, because those books are amazing, and they haven't made one since the Rise of Skywalker. We were supposed to get that Timelines one next month, but that got delayed till February, and they've still never released one for Mando or Boba Fett or Obi-Wan.
And as much as I love Andor, the designs of Mando and Boba Fett for me they're not. I mean, it's not going to sound harsh, but they're grander. Like there's bigger design, better designs, not better designs. I don't know how to word. They're grander designs. How about that? They're more Star Warsy, grander designs. Like Andor is very subdued, is what I'm trying to get at. Mm-hmm. Whereas Mando is like that. Those are the characters and the creatures you want in those books. Whereas Andor, we haven't really had. We had one alien in 7 episodes.
Right, but I mean, they can always tell us about planets. They can tell us about all the people.
I'm not debating that. I'm just saying, get the hell on Mando is what I'm saying.
Yeah, get the hell on all of them. I'm still waiting to learn about the multicolored rainbow swoop bike gang, whatever those guys' deal was. I want a whole 3-page spread on them.
Their deal was they ruined the fandom and they'll never ever be mentioned again.
Yeah, that's right.
I hope they're in Ahsoka and Mando season 3. I just hope they keep showing up in everything.
They're going to show up in the climax of Andor. And everybody's going to get a different colored bike. Everybody we met so far will have a different colored Vespa.
Everybody hates their Vespas, but the Mon Mothma machine that she drives that looks like freaking Thundercats. Everyone's like all in on that. I don't know. Whatever.
She's got like a purple Cadillac. I like it.
I love it. I know, but it's not much different from. I mean, if you put an extra light on it, it's gonna look the same as those bikes, I think.
Yeah, exactly.
I love it.
She's the last flash of color left in Coruscant, James.
I love that too. I love how Coruscant went from the prequels to now. You're like, yeah, that's called transition of power.
I still hope, though, Cyril, this is my dream. Cyril goes to this cubicle job. He finishes late and he walks home, but he doesn't want to go home because he's depressed. So he stops at Dexter's Diner for dinner and we see that.
Oh my God, that'd be amazing. Here's a question for you. What do you think is going to happen with that character?
With Cyril, I think there's a very real possibility he might become not friends with Andor, but he might become anti-imperial. And whatever that means, as the show tells us, kind of the moral of the show is that, people rebel in different ways. So I'm curious I have no idea how he's going to become anti-imperial, but I think he is going to realize that the system has chewed him up and spat him out, and he's going to get real pissed off at that system.
That's what I think.
What do you think?
I'm wondering if he will be the first Fulcrum. Because Andor is a Fulcrum and then Ahsoka's a Fulcrum, but could he be the first one? And are we getting there? And he won't be Fulcrum until next season, I don't think. I think this season will end with his understanding of real. But at the same time, like everybody seems to be predicting that, so maybe he just like becomes the head honcho Imperial, aka Snoke.
Of course. Well, we all knew it was going there. I don't know why you tipped your hand so soon, but that was the obvious choice, as he's going to be Snoke.
Obviously, someone's going to be Master Sirius Snoke.
Well, James, any final thoughts on Andor, and who do you recommend I should swipe right on, Mon Mothma or the Antique Lady?
Knowing you, Antique Lady.
Woo!
I don't think you would want to handle Mothma.
I think she's out of my league. Mothma's out of my league.
Yeah, you'd be miserable. She would not play any games with you. I mean, like board games, not games. I mean, like you'd be like, let's play the Haunted Hill House game, and she'd be like, no, Andrew, I will not play that game. The system is crumbling all around us. So, I don't think she'd be fun, frankly. She's a great.
You're not wrong.
I think Andor is a fantastic show. I think it's a lot of fun. I'm not going to place it. If we ever do like a ranking of the shows, which we're getting to a point now where we probably could do that, I wouldn't rank it yet. I want to see if it's got to stick the landing still, but just over halfway through, it is exceeded. I had pretty high hopes for it. Like they said, like that James Bond type thing, and it was darker and gritty, and it's not like fake dark, and it's not overly dark and gritty, but it's also not. Spider-Man: Homecoming is a what's his name, Andrew? I can't remember his name now. John Hughes.
Oh, John Hughes.
Is that like Spider-Man: Homecoming is a John Hughes movie? No, it's not. This is what they promised us to a T, and I'm all in on it. I'm having a great time watching it, and every week it's like they just do something. You're like, it's not. It doesn't blow your mind. It's just solid. It's just solid.
That's a great way to put it. Yeah, it hasn't blown any minds yet, but it is just consistently.
It doesn't need to.
Solid. Yeah, it doesn't.
It's Empire Strikes Back. It's the Empire Strikes Back of Disney Plus Star Wars shows. That's what it is. It's like we had our fun. Now we got to eat it. And then we're going to get the other ones. It's going to be way more fun again. It's Ahsoka and Mando Season 3. As I'm choking other words.
I already can't wait for Andor Season 2. I mean, I'm just, every week I'm just put in this beautiful 50-minute trance where I get sent to this bleak corner of the Star Wars galaxy, and they tell this wonderful, very powerful very mature story. And I think that there's I've said before many times, there's a difference between mature storytelling and adult storytelling. And I think a lot of the people who kind of whine and complain about these kind of things is they are looking for adult, which is Rob Zombie, essentially. Rob Zombie's Halloween movies. They're looking for that. Mature is something different. Mature is what Andor is. It's quiet, it's contemplative, it's not going to be in your face about anything. It feels the most like a prestige HBO show than any other show they've given us in Star Wars. It's got its own rhythm to it, but it's beautiful and it's solid all throughout. I got nothing but wonderful smiles for miles every time I watch it.
Same for me. Double.
And I'm assuming when she gets older, you're going to force your daughter to watch it because you'd be like, this came out the same time you did, so this has to be your Star Wars.
She's watched every episode with me. She's slept through every episode with me. So yeah.
So she's gonna have like weird baby memories of this show. Yeah,
I grew up with Andor. Yes, you did. Yes, you did. I actually do. I feed her and we watch the show, and that's basically my Wednesdays. That's how it goes now.
That's perfect.
Yeah.
All right, sir. Well, it is time to say goodbye to 1313. Hopefully, we will see level 1313 on this show. That's a very real possibility. For all we know, that's where Cyril Karn lives. But I'd much rather see Dexter's Diner. James, where can the people find you if they want to complain to you about how much they hate Android?
Don't! Petsafina. Find me at Petsafina.
And you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Andrew Fantasia, where I won't be complaining about Andor or Halloween Ends or anything else that's cool to complain about, like She-Hulk or whatever. I'll just be enjoying stuff because that's what I do. It's my goal in life is just to enjoy things. But until next time, everybody, may the force of others